Call of Duty Vanguard is 37.5% about vans and 62.5% about guarding them, but at the end of the day, it's still 100% Call of Duty, such as the implication of the game where the biggest goal is guarding soccer mom vehicles, or the shoe brand. I'm still trying to figure that one out. Multiplayer is still multiplayer, you're going to take damage. Zombies is getting worse, but you're still going to take damage. And the campaign is there for the 20% of people who actually start it and never finish. I'm gonna finish it in a certain way, let's give it a go. This video contains spoilers for the Vanguard campaign, alongside some words that I will have to bleep out because it's not a Deal Wheels video otherwise. It's a minimum of 10 swear words that I must bleep out per video, otherwise it's dog shit. There's one of them. If you're under the age of 13, as long as you're above the age of 10, you're probably fine if you've played online Search and Destroy. On the off chance you are new here, I'll briefly explain how this works. At any point throughout the campaign, if I take damage of any kind, I'll hit the button on my DualSense controller that has 3 horizontal lines lined up in a vertical pattern, press down on the D-pad a couple of times, and confirm that yes, I would like to reset to the last checkpoint, because I'm a failure at video games if I cannot beat them without taking any damage. Now that all that nonsensical bullshit has flown in one ear and out the other, the challenge can officially commence. Hamburg 1945. I hear they produced a lot of ham that year. An entire battalion of 5 others accommodates yours truly, so I know that I'm not taking damage on this mission, seeing as though they are my bullet sponges. I should point out that I had my FPS on way too high on the first mission, recording in 60 FPS when the game is playing at roughly 150, well, let's just say the recording can get a little f***y here and there. The first and second kill already went to 2 other people, the third one went to the Russian. When am I going to get a great opportunity for slaughter? It soon came when the game tried to coax me into utilizing a stealth takedown, but I loaned this guy a bullet and shoved it into his occipital bone. Stabbing someone in the clavicle feels about as satisfying as pretending to stab someone with a toothpick after you've used it to dislodge popcorn from your teeth. At no point throughout this run was I distracted by the natural selection of Mother Nature. I chose to run this way, and apparently, it was destiny to find something that I probably shouldn't have found, but such is life when you play a Call of Duty game from an untrustworthy publisher. The premise of the mission is to use the generic and bland stealth gameplay you'd expect to find in a Call of Duty game to make it to the front of the train without being detected. That's boring. Most efficient when trying to not take damage, but still really f***ing boring. An attempt to spice up the mission was made when my Uber Eats and DoorDash finally arrived. They got my food wrong, and you see what happens when people get my food wrong. We arrived at our destination. I got even more opportunities for slaughter, both outside and in. I finally found out what my name was, though I can't remember it at the moment, and this was my karma. Inside of a submarine, I found the local campfire, and many resets were bestowed upon me for not remembering what our character's name was. You cannot run here, and there is no cover. It's practically a crapshoot, and you're stuck here until you get it right. I got it right in the end. One of those Discord flashbang images appeared thanks to some jackass troll, and my nameless character got beat to death with a wooden chair. Not like I'll really miss him anyway, I couldn't even bother to remember his name. The rest of my squadron got kidnapped and taken to a prison, and we're reliving Arthur Kingsley's memories. What is it with Arthurs in video games being the biggest badasses? Running gung-ho like a bat out of hell was a terrible mistake that led me to the place where it's decided whether I look up or down on my family, but because this is all a flashback, it never technically happened. The mission was stealth and all toothpicks and necks up until I had to make noise that was louder than screaming at the top of my lungs. I despise when enemies can spawn behind you and make you reset 32 seconds back. I felt like the biggest waste of scum when I had to take the rabid family dog behind the woodshed and put it out of its misery. We soon regrouped with our squad, not the ones in the first mission, this one is in the past, and I took command of the whole operation by forcing everyone to do exactly what I say at all times. I've done enough stealth for 3 COD campaigns already at this point, so I lit these motherfuckers up, and they lit me up all the same. Even my own teammates desired to shoot me, and that's just a sad fact of life that I have to live with. The rest of the first half of this mission felt like your casual World War II shooter experience, so I got to lay back and let my teammates do all the work. At least that's what I wanted to do. They pelted the MG, but never managed to actually kill him, so I had to move cover to cover and blow him up myself. Like most video games, it's a case of, fine, I'll do it myself. I was very indecisive on my weapon of choice for some reason. I honestly question half the things I do in these recordings. I kamikaze that bitch, he kamikaze that bitch, and we're suddenly in another classic World War II shooter experience, pushing a field, avoiding all the pieces of metal flying my way, only to take damage from an 8-foot fall into a ditch. Me. This guy tried to jump scare. I was having none of it. The dark corridors of this bunker, I must admit, gave me a bit of anxiety in the event that I take damage, but it was okay. My partner was the one who received a bit of damage instead of me. Thank you for keeping this run alive. We got out of there not long after blowing up some flat guns. I like blowing shit up, by the way, only for our flare gun to fail, and now we're suddenly getting pelted by our own military. My own military killed me when I had nowhere else to go. I decided to follow the marker on my screen instead of wandering aimlessly like I do in online Call of Duty multiplayer, and took damage from a stray missile. Thinking nothing of it, I reset back to the last checkpoint, only to take damage from that missile again, and again, and again. It seems like Vanguard put this event here just to spite me. We found the flare gun, shot it high in the sky, and we now segue into our next mission. This guy just screams "I am evil" with his face alone, never mind the way he walks, talks, and is dressed. It was in this cutscene that I realized that this campaign was going to be half movie, quarter stealth, and quarter actual gameplay. We had a nice family sit-down breakfast, although the only thing on the menu was some hot brown morning potion. I left home by climbing up some conveniently placed bricks to make it to my job. I jumped off a building and took damage. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised in hindsight. It's not every day where as soon as I arrive, I have to leave back to home, but I wasn't really complaining. I've been begging for a day off for weeks. Didn't appreciate the gunfire to make it happen, though. My home got ransacked, and they took my hot brown morning potion with them. Unfamiliar with who I was, everything that opposed me died, because I am the video game protagonist. Video game protagonists do not die, unless your name is Arthur Morgan, or that no-name fool in the first mission, but he wasn't really a protagonist, so it was inevitable. My father passed away. He loaned me his gun for all eternity, or just the rest of my life, whichever ends first, and I tried making sure he was okay, but the game said no. The annoying big brother needed saving, as annoying big brothers always do, and the video game protagonist, in this mission it's Polina, made sure she loaned out a lot of bullets from various points throughout the room. I couldn't make sure my father was okay. I'm gonna make sure everyone else is. We saved the damsel in distress, climbed up to the top of a building, no, we're not jumping this time, and instead making sure that everybody else is okay. When you stick an ammo box next to a sniper on a rooftop, it's a fun time for everybody involved. My brother apparently made these bombs. They were in unlimited supply, so I got to see lots of blue fire. We retreated down into a subway tunnel. They had many footlongs available down there, and the game forced me to look at this guy's face again. I kinda hate his face. The video game protagonist in this mission was a pilot dude, and the premise of it all is fighting the very good fight up in the sky and slaughter everything that comes within 5 miles of us. Going back to a previous challenge, the World at War Without Taking Damage video, it had a similar style of dogfight mission where the only real difference was the fact that we couldn't move in that mission. I've learned since then that as long as you, the player, are in control of the plane, it's fairly menial to not take damage. Once you take that away, however, it's an absolute f***ing nightmare. Restricting that range of movement in this section means that even with damn near perfect flying, the explosions are targeted towards you wherever you are. After a hard crash landing and a piece of metal giving me a second belly button, the 25% stealth came into play for about 10 minutes of monotonous crouch walking and more toothpicks and necks, all the way up until I got kicked in the face and a bag over my head, where an alternate variant of Takia approached with his big fancy fruit slicer, but ultimately fell to a conveniently placed plot armor rescue mission. Not one to refuse charity, I humbly accepted the offer from Booker T, made sure this guy knew who was boss, in multiple ways I might add, and developed a sense of aimbot which the game politely calls focus. Seriously, this buff is kind of ridiculous. I'm not really sure what was going on here. We have a fight on our hands and all I see is two people f***ing around in the dirt, just crawling back and forth. This is AI, ladies and gentlemen. Things were about to get really steamy, so I took this flamethrower and charged through an open field and took damage. I tried it again and took damage. I made it to the pillbox and then I took damage, but not before I made everything else a portion of my barbecue. It was fun in games for a little bit, lighting some assholes on fire and utilizing my newfound aimbot ability because cheating is fun. You see that plane? We're gonna take it. And anybody standing in my way, if they even wake up, will be left permanently disabled thanks to my MG42. At best, nobody will be left standing. We took the plane, did some really sick shit, and segued into our next mission, back to our favorite sniper video game protagonist. She somehow got herself a brand new nickname in the time from the last mission we played into this one, Lady Nightingale, which is also the name of this mission. After a quick Google search, because technology is incredibly awesome, a nightingale is a European songbird, and she is a lady. Do not forget the fact that she is a lady. She will put a bullet in both of your kneecaps, break your fingers like they're popsicle sticks, and leave you to freeze in the blizzard. You'd think that after annihilating several snipers perched up in buildings a couple 100 feet away, that maybe sending in a battalion even closer would be a terrible idea, but no. Like all Call of Duty missions, they continue to send trucks after trucks of needless NPCs to die for nothing. They are not video game protagonists. I am, and that is why I always win. I'm not exactly positive who stuck a stick up this guy's ass, but he had an odd obsession with throwing smoke screens everywhere and just not giving a shit about cover whatsoever. Our main objective here is to send a very evil man to the great big palace in the sky. Although if he is a very evil man, it should probably be the great big palace in the ground, but it's not my place to send judgment one's way, so whatever. Spying and eavesdropping are two sins of lice, and we were rewarded with my good old big brother enlarging his current belly button. The new goal was to drag him 245 meters to safety. That's a little over 800 feet for my Imperial System Americans out there. Seriously, as an American myself, why in God's name does the Imperial System even exist at this point? We're the only ones using it. Dragging Misha to safety took several resets as the locations of enemies were unpredictable and some only allowed a very short window to kill without taking damage. Luckily, you can off each one before failing at video games. Somehow we took an almost direct hit from a rocket launcher and managed to walk away without a scratch. This is true gaming. I'm not sure when the big brother decided to become suicidal, but even he tried to kill me, and we all know how that works with the self-proclaimed title that I've already said too many times in this video alone. Still holds true though. Introducing another stealth segment just made me want to bash my head into a wall, so the first chance I got, I went bang bang. I'm trying to get the stealth segments down to under 15% playtime, and this helps quite a lot. Ascending higher into this building, anything that even remotely moved was to be slaughtered by one of my two guns, both of which shoot bullets in case you didn't already know. Usually, with the bolt-action sniper rifle, the most versatility it possesses is downrange, roughly about 5,000 feet away is when they are most effective, but today we are not standing 5,000 feet away and instead have to play CQB. I was going to put some hype music and edit the video to look like I went on a massive gun streak only quickscoping, but I've already used that shtick in 2 other challenges so far, so I won't do it, much to my chagrin, mind you. Playing defense against oncoming waves of soldiers entering the room at random sporadic times wasn't actually the easiest task of the entire run and took the most resets of any segment throughout the campaign, but it was manageable enough after 45 minutes of attempts. Wow. The stick up the ass armored f***ers made this segment unfair and unfun. Unfun is 100% a word. Don't dispute that. Steiner, the evil man, brought a gun to a knife fight, and that was not a part of the rules we established, so I had to personally make him suffer. Even though he looks as old as someone from 1945, somehow he was able to fight me off and punch me in the face with his gun. Does this constitute taking damage? Even attacking him from the front, I got 3 slashes in, but it's like he didn't even flinch. It took 3 takedowns only for him to run away like all scum from this time frame did. I got those 3 stabbies back about 69 seconds later. No bullshit at this time, I actually swear on God that's exactly how many seconds it was between the last punch he gave me and the first stab I gave back. And then I forced him to jump off a building because I hate his face. There's plenty of other reasons that are probably more justifiable for committing such an action, but I still hate his face. Defenestration, ladies and gentlemen. From the Lady Nightingale to the ostentatious Aussie, we're now in the eyes of the 5th different video game protagonists thus far in this challenge. I think that's a new record for the channel. Winning card games isn't even new for me either. I made sure of that back in the Red Dead 2 video. To this day, I still humbly believe that a magazine that sits vertical on top of a gun looks really weird. My commanding officer is an insecure little bitch and got the timing wrong on the explosions on the road, so I had to blow up a tank with a grenade. It was quite a dopamine rush. Because the opposition was at least 5 feet away from me, the revolver was the obvious best choice to use at this range. Pardon me if I don't trust a weapon that has a magazine that faces down. My good friend, who is inferior to all card games, decided now was a great time for a couple new tattoos. Whatever floats your boat, I suppose. Just don't blame me when the CO gets pissed off when others get away with his hot brown morning potion. Like always, I have to do all the dirty work in every mission while the others can sit on their asses doing literally nothing as far as I know. After stumbling for a short walk, I suppress the stealth percentage once more and go loud when I really didn't have to, because this is fun. Look at all the fun I am having. Look at their fun faces. What just happened with this guy? It must be a lot of fun. I heard somebody say do not engage, so I decided to start blasting because nobody tells Deal Wheels what to do. I don't understand what it is about teammates shooting me in the back in this playthrough. I didn't bother resetting for this one because we all know it's bullshit. I may have bit off more than I could chew with this segment. Getting blown up by a tank is not exactly how I envisioned I'd spend my Friday night, but here we are. I capped on this MG42 as a joke to see how long I could last before getting shot, but I never got pinged and before long was completely out of targets. The one time in this challenge I actively try to take damage and I don't take any. Just my luck. Now to do what I like to do best, blowing shit up. The fuel depot I survived all well and good. The ammo dump, I wasn't so lucky. It seemed that regardless of how far I could possibly run away from the bunker, I was destined to take more damage. I like to think that instead of me becoming injured from the blast, that it was someone else's jelly donut that flew into my face. The tanks were wide in the open and easy to avoid the blast. I had to make sure that the last tank was decimated. Not long after, in their act of revenge, the Krauts sent a fighter plane my way in pure unadulterated vengeance for messing with their jelly donuts. Oh, and their tanks as well. I almost forgot about that. Given the choice of a Kar 98K or an MP40 to use against the opposing Stuka, I chose the meme gun, and there was only one single way to take this thing down. That was fucking incredible. Out of every mission that has been flashback so far, this next one was the most World War II mission of World War II missions. It's simply you, a gun in your hand, some teammates by your side, and a lot of enemies that we will be loaning bullets out to today. You sound like it. I got a hint of nostalgia from this area. Almost felt like an alternate Afghan from Modern Warfare 2. Taking out the rest of the mortar teams here was easy enough with minimal resets. The open field here left plenty of opportunity to get shot, or, you know, just ran over by my own fucking tank. You know, it's sad when you get an achievement for something you didn't even try for. This is simply a participation trophy for dying. I wouldn't have thought that a double-barrel shotgun of all things would arguably be the second most effective weapon in the entire level. It blasts people all the way up to the giant Great Palace in the sky, and paints all of my walls a nice scarlet red color. When in doubt, spray and pray. Everything dies when a bullet flies. Everyone around me gets filled with lead, except for the Fuhrer. He gets shot in the head. Hope that poem was semi-decent as I get filled with a missile and sent to my bed. All I have left is my long-range revolver. When I get truly desperate, everybody's odds of survival is like a snowball's chance in hell. That includes the fucking ass on that MG42 who made me reset 14 different times. We steamrolled through them after enough headache and proceeded to send more crowds to the great big palace in the sky. I finally got a crack at the long-anticipated MG42, and my god, it shreds. Its reload time is abysmal. After one more round of playing Bloons Tower Defense 6, this time on the other side with the other gun because it ran out of ammo, my partner died. I was winning, by the way, and the air support arrived to repossess the 3 remaining tanks that I totally had enough ammunition and missiles for. I respect this video game protagonist a hell of a lot more with this mean right hook. He got to punch his boss square in the face. We finally escaped our prison, but not before twisting a knife in this guy because he honestly deserved it. I'll let you discover why if you haven't already. The goal now is to assassinate the next Fuhrer of the world, some dude we've seen, I swear, like twice so far, something like that. But it would be incredibly awesome to add that accomplishment to your resume, so we're going forward with the plan. Restrict your range of motion inside of a vehicle. You're guaranteed to take damage if people shoot back. It's just a fact of life. Clearing out the tunnels and train station was the most menial of tasks so far, since we have a squad of 4 video game protagonists right here unleashing hell. Topside, I picked up the Sten because the Sten is Arthur's weapon of choice. Yes, we're playing Arthur again finally. The park we ran through had plenty of cover with no real problems here other than the fact that apparently I shot my own friendly NPCs in the back. Not a great look as a leader, but I was never one anyway. An almost seamless transition to Polina made for quite nice cinematography, and I about threw up my own balls when a render of rubble flashed before my eyes. I managed to clear out the room above, all except one apparently, as once again I got shot in the back. Story of my life when I play online first-person shooters. There aren't exactly a whole lot of chances to perch up inside of a cleared-out building with an ammo box and a sniper rifle, so when the opportunity arises, you're damn right I'm gonna savor every second of it. Unfortunately, it came to an end with an armored juggernaut and the last shot, but another seamless transition, this time back to the ostentatious Aussie, and ostentatious Aussie is very, very good at one particular activity, blowing shit up. 3 tanks and a barricade. Good night, Lucas. Hello, Wade, once again. This was the pilot dude with the aimbot, and aimbot he did when... Actually, now that I watch it back, I never used my aimbot ability. Now I'm sad. Though I could not have chosen a worse weapon to use when breaching a set of doors into the next room. Throughout this cinematic, it's very clear that Arthur's gun here is still the Sten I picked up when I was playing him a little bit earlier. But for some reason, as soon as I take control again, it went back to the original Brennan 1911 combo. Where is the consistency in all this? Though it does feel nice commanding everybody to do my bidding once again. We opened a hangar door, but I was under the impression that we had to kill the Fry Singer, not capture him. Oh well, no matter. Anybody that stood in my way, and at the end of the game, well, I collected their debt, if you get what I mean. I tackled Mr. Pepper, he talked like he was Mr. Badass, and 2 of our protagonists sought to end his life anyway, only in much more horrific fashion than a simple bullet. So we killed him in the end anyway. I don't really understand it, but whatever. We took off in a plane. The last word spoken of this campaign called the squad the Vanguard.
We were the Vanguard.
Cue credit roll. And I did not beat Call of Duty Vanguard without taking damage. I blame those fucking explosives and my own military for failing this challenge. It was all their fault. I don't see one scratch on any of these fools. If you enjoyed this video or learned anything, consider leaving it a like. Or if you didn't, leave it a dislike. And if you haven't already, and you like what you see on the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Helps me out a ton trying to break 1,000 subscribers. And if you want your name included here at the end of the video along with some behind the scenes bonus content like early drafts or thumbnails and previews for my next videos, head on over to my Patreon at patreon.com/DealWheels and giving whatever you feel like. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters for making videos like this one possible. Have a good one. Peace out.